Okay, we're being recorded. This is Cognos Analytics Session 2 for the 9080610 sections. With that, I'll turn it over to Elena.
Hello, everybody. So this is our second session today, and this is a long agenda. We're going to talk about the dashboard. We're going to talk about the stories and the group work, okay? So that's the main key for today. As you may recall, last session, we worked with claims and weather data, right? So pay attention because you're going to need to do something along this line for your assignment 4. You're going to need to summarize what you did in assignment 3, right, which is any pre-processing you did, etc. And then you're going to use your work from assignment 3 to do assignment 4. 4 is built on 3. But in my case, here, I'm going to quickly summarize what I did last time for this data set. So here, basically, the goal of this data is to predict the total insurance claim based on customer information and based on the insurance coverage and based on how much a person pays per month, monthly premium, right? And the personal income, etc., right? So what we did last time was, I'm going to go back in here, we created this data module, and I'm going to open this data module, right? So as you may recall, here it is, I preview the data. And what we did was the data had some missing values, and I defined some filters. If I click here, if I go to properties, right? I'm gonna go to properties, and then I'm gonna do filters. What I did last time is I specified the filter that the data must have effective due date. So if effective due date is unavailable, it's going to filter out the row, right? Then I also created the selectable filter, which allowed me to limit my visualization to a personal policy type for small vehicles. So we did that. Then we had a couple variables that had missing values, income. So if you look at this expression, what I did in here is that I said, okay, if income is missing, then let's go ahead and set it to the average. Otherwise, we're going to keep it as is, right? So that's data pre-processing. Well, the reason I did it in data module is because I want it to be available today when I create my dashboard, right? I don't want to keep on redoing it. So it's going to be available for me. We went over it last time, but then after the last time, for today, I did more data pre-processing because there is another variable called monthly premium, which also has some missing values. And what I did was I'm setting it to the average if it's missing. Then there were a couple, there was at least one, there was at least one categorical variable that has missing values. So what I did was I said this, if a claim reason is missing, I want to set it to unknown. Basically what I'm doing here, I'm coding the missing value as an unknown, right? Otherwise, I'm going to keep it as is. So this is my handling of missing values in here. Then what else I did was I created the data group, right? Or data group is also called binning. I had a variable that was very skewed, number of policies. And what I did last time, I created the data group. So if I go here and I need to select edit group, and it shows me the definition. So what I said in here is that if I have more than 8, right, policies, then it's gonna be grouped in the same category, right? 8 or higher, 6 to 8, etc. Right? Less than 3. Well, and the reason is because I had some outliers. I had some extremely large values in here. So I just went in and I created the data group, right? Okay, so let's go back to slides because I don't want to miss anything that is important, and you're gonna have a copy of the slides. So in here, what I did was I summarized all of these expressions that I did, right? Now this is a data group that I did. Oh, and one more thing that I did is that when I'm looking at the total claim amount on most of my visualizations, I'm not interested in the sum of claims that people paid. I'm rather interested in the average claim amount. So I went in here and I found total claim amount. Let me go to the properties, and then this is the aggregation. I changed it to average. Basically, every time when I want to look at something like by region, perhaps, right? I want to look at the average. I don't want to look at the count. I don't want to look at the summary. I found it easier to do it at these levels, and it will be available for me on all visualizations, right? So now, and remember that there are some hidden fields here. This is hidden, right? This is a group number, and then the row ID is hidden. All right, so we're done with that. We're good with that. Now, what I also did last time, we created the data explorations, right? So let me go back here. So what I did, let's close this for now. And I created this as a claims and weather data exploration. Let's assume that we did it all last time we met, right? But secretly I did a little bit more, but this is the exploration. Now let's take a look at this. Am I able to change the colors? Am I able to add some text to this? Just think about it. Am I able to add special shapes? Is there a way for me to kind of like see a relationship between all of these visualizations? Well, if I have this, only if I have a comparison, I can see some relationships. But is there a way for me to kind of like filter all of these visualizations to specific area? I apply filter to one visualization, it will automatically apply to the others. The answer is no, right? We cannot do all of that. So what this happens is we have what? Dashboards. So we create dashboards to present insights, right? Important. In your assignment, you're going to be asked about the specific features of the dashboard. So you can change the visualization appearance properties, like the color code, etc., right? Then visualizations can be split into tabs, and when the visualizations on the same tab are linked automatically if they use the same data source. If you build visualization from the same data source on the same tab, they are linked, then you may reuse visualizations from other dashboards or from explorations. Then you may toggle between a view mode and edit mode. Then, and similar to the exploration workspace, you can create navigation paths and add calculations, etc. But for us, I did most of the calculation, most of the pre-processing in a data module, because I want it to be available every time I use this data set, and I'm going to use it more than once today. All right, so now we're going to create a new dashboard. So there is more than one way to do it. You can go to My Content, and you may access this data modular from My Content, and you may do create dashboard. Alternatively, at a moment, if I close this, at a moment, this is going to show on my recent because I just opened it. I just had it open. So I can click in here, and I can say create dashboard. Now what happens now? I have two options here, two layout options. One option is the tabbed, and another option is infographic. So basically tabbed, it lets me split my visualizations into separate tabs, and visualization on the same tab are linked as long as they use the same data source. And also, I may apply the filter to all tabs, or I may apply filter to a single tab. Infographic, instead of tab, I'm going to have all visualizations on the same page, and I cannot apply the filter to the subset of visualizations. It's either all or none, right? And what I did was I spelled it out, the differences for you in here. And here are the similarities. Both are interactive, and you may use the predefined layout templates that I'm about to show. You may reuse visualizations, create new ones, you may add text, and etc. So here are the templates that I was talking about. Well, you have a free form, right? Free form basically does not scale based on your monitor size. But this one, the out of the box ones, they scale. As you change the monitor resolution, they get adjusted for you. One thing to keep in mind is that the more visualizations you put on the page, the longer it may take to load, okay? So let's just pick 2 by 2. So that's one factor. The more you have visualization, the slower it's gonna work. Just keep that in mind, okay? So I'm gonna select this. And another thing I want to mention that with coronavirus, we have a lot of kids at home, etc. The performance of Cognos analytics in part depends on your network speed. It does, because basically when you do things like drag and drop, you're interacting from your PC with remote PC, right? So if you have a lot of people streaming things in the house, it may affect your Cognos analytics. You may think it's slow because, well, it's a RAM it takes, and also it's a communication between the mouse on your PC with remote PC. So just keep that in mind, okay? Now, here it is, right? I have 4 little areas. Well, there are multiple ways to add visualizations. I can just go ahead and drag and drop. When I take the field and I drag and drop, it will try to guess best visualizations that I want to look at. So now notice this. I put this over the blue line, right? That way, the visualization will automatically scale to this space in here, slots. Now what I could do is I could open this visualization in a focus mode. I specified the state, but I didn't specify what I want to show for the states. So let's do the location, color, and this is going to be my total claim amount, okay? So one thing to keep in mind is that if you see little asterisk, it means that the field is required. If you don't see the asterisk, it means the field is optional. But if the field is not, if you don't put any field, anything in the required slot, right, then you cannot build the visualization. Okay, just keep that in mind. All required must be filled. This one is not required, but you did not see anything in here because I didn't specify. Now you do. So the color code indicates the average, relative average claim amount, right? The darker means the higher in this case. See, this is a legend. And if I wanted to here, I could go back and I can change the properties. The available properties depends on the visualizations that I have, okay? There are some general properties such as appearance, etc. I can change my borders, I can change the fill color, okay? And I can change anything I want here, the legend, etc. This is a map, right? That shows the state. Now, what else I could do? I can edit the dashboard properties. So if I click on the dashboard itself, this is showing me the dashboard properties such as page size, canvas size, if I want to show the grid, if I want to do something with, like for example, if I scroll down here, I see the tabs, right? And what I could do is this. First of all, I want to see the tabs. Then I want to change I want to say, okay, if I selected the tab, I wanted to show in a green color. Oops. Okay, now the selected tab, something is happening. Okay, so come on, selected tab, and I can specify the green color code, right? See this? Now it's changing here. Now I want to change the title color, and I want to make it blue. See this? Over here, I change the color to blue. So basically what I'm trying to show, I can change the tab colors. Now what I could do, I could add another tab, and another tab could use different template. I can use a different template on each tab, it does not matter, okay? It still allows, but keep in mind, the more visualizations you put, the slower it takes to load, okay? So here it is. I've got 2 tabs right now, and the names, the tab names can also be renamed. I'll do that later. Over here, it shows you the data that you are looking at, the data that is being visualized, right? This data is here. Now, here, I just created a visualization by drag and drop. First of all, number 1, let's save this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go in here, right? Save it. I'm gonna select on my content, and I'm gonna call it, well, I have to use a distinct name. I cannot use the same name that I used when I did a demo for another session. So let's just call it claims dashboard, if it lets me. Okay, I'm gonna save it now. always save it, always save your work, okay? Because what happens that if you lose your internet connection, if you're disconnected, if you did not save the work, the files that you have opened, all unsaved changes are gonna be lost. So I want you to keep that in mind, okay? Now, we're gonna add more visualizations, but this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it differently right now. I'm gonna go back to my exploration, and here it is. This is exploration that we were looking at. And what I'll do is I'm gonna add something to the pin. So see this is a visualization here. I'm gonna add it to pin. Basically, pin is nothing but a bookmark. Sometimes if you want to use a certain visualization a lot in your, if you want to use visualization a lot in your display, so to speak, right? You want to add it to the pin. It's in here. It's very convenient. You can just drag and drop. So now when I'm going to go back to my dashboard to add this visualization, what I'll do is I can just go back to the pins and I can drag and drop, okay, over here. That will do it. See, it works fast because I don't have a lot of people streaming in my house right now, but okay. Now, here, so the speed of this depends on your internet connection speed. And also you may want to close as many windows on your PC as possible because you want the RAM to be utilized by the browser. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right, so this is one way. Another way, well, first let's save this. I'm gonna go back to my exploration. Here, if I clicked on this arrow, it shows me what I currently have open. Do not use the browser back button. Instead, please use this menu. I'm going into this exploration now. And what I want to do is, I'm gonna copy and paste something, right? So, come on, something is going on now. Oh, I have to do this. Look, I have to go to the visualization. I had pins open. I need to open visualization instead. So this is my employment status. So let me see. I'm gonna pick something that has state in it. Okay, so this is one with the state. And also notice that in here, if I go back to data, I have this navigation path created, which allows me to drill down. Like, for example, this is a Missouri, right? I can go in and I can drill down, right? But for some unknown reason, I have it defined in exploration. It's not available outside the exploration, but I'll show you what's going to happen right now in a second. So here, let me unfilter it. And this time, instead of adding it to the pin, I'm gonna copy this visualization. So let's see, let me try. I'm gonna go back to my cards and let me find it. It's here, right? So what I'm doing is this. I'm clicking here on this ellipsis and I'm gonna do copy. So see this? One asset is copied. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my dashboard and I'm gonna paste it. See this slot right here, and then to paste it, I just go Control V. Okay, now I have to position it correctly. See this? To position it, I drag and drop and I put it on top of this arrow. There we go. So this is my visualization now. Okay. What I'm doing in here is this this actually shows the number of, this shows the percentage of customers by state. Okay, this is not the total claim amount. This visualization shows me the percentage of customers that I have per state. Okay, now what I could do is this. Let me do this. Okay, what I could do here is this. I can create a brand new visualization. Let's do that. To create a brand new visualization from scratch, I'm going to click on the visualization. And I'm going to select visualization type and I'm going to do a pie chart. See this? I just drag and drop. Now I'm going to open it in a focus mode and I'm going to specify what I want to do. And in this case, well, I'm going to do it intentionally. I want to do the, every slice, I want it to be state. and then every segment, I mean, the width of the segment, I want to do the number of customers. So I'm gonna do size, I'm gonna put the customer, right? Okay, let's do it like this for right now. All right, and we're gonna change the properties of this. So let me save this. Now, remember I told you that the properties that you can change depend on the visualization. I select visualization and I'm gonna click in here to open up the properties window. So what do I see here? I'm gonna click on the chart now. I want to see the labels, but instead of showing the numbers, I want to see the percentages, right? I want to do that, so that's one option I have. Now in here, well, right now it shows the circle, but instead I want to change this. I want it to look as a donut. So this is an option I have, right? You can play around with this. I can adjust how big it is, radius. Then what I could also do is I could go here, well, appearance, and I can change the background color if I want to, etc. But somewhere in here, I saw the title. I can add the title to this if I wanted to, okay? I'll find it, okay? So let's look, I have it in the slide. I'll find the slide in a second. So we're here. This is a top dashboard interface, and I'm gonna go over the filters in a few, but I'm showing you multiple ways to add visualizations, right? But the properties that you have depend on the visualization. So here it is. See this? It's in a general. It's in a general tab. I'll show you how to get there. Okay, so this is a general. See this? In a general, I want to turn on the title. There we go. So now I got it opens up the text detail, and let's say percentage of customers. Right? Now what I could do is I can edit this text, and I've got several options. I can do it in this toolbar, or I can do it here, right? So I can just change the color, and I can change font, etc. Right? I'll let you play with it. But the main point in here, the properties that you may change depend on what visualization you're looking at. So we've got this. I'm gonna save it, and now I'm gonna go back to my second tab. This is my second tab, and I'm gonna add visualization here, but this time I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna use my little friend. Do you remember this little assistant from last time? If I type show data, right, it showed me which data sets I have access to, and this is my data module. What I could do is I could drag and drop visualization from here, like that I'm playing about, and I can do perhaps let's do employment status. It's gonna show visualization here, and this is what I can do. I can take this and I can drag and drop. See this? Nice and easy. Okay, I can drag and drop. I can do it like this too. Okay. Then what I could also do is, okay, then I could edit the visualization. Like for example, I can do this. Well, I can do this, right? See this? I did this. Now I can go back, open it in a focus mode, and I can change the fields that I'm using. Okay. Well, like for example, here I'm using employment status. I can remove this column and I can add the state column. I want the bars to be state, okay? Well, this is what I did, and I'm gonna minimize this. And always you can change you can change the properties. You can change the color, well, etc. Right? Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll save this. Let's look at the special properties of the dashboard that you do not have in in exploration. When I create my visualizations, when I put them here in the same tab, they automatically link. And what I mean by this is this. When I go in here, select one state, the same state is going to be selected in the rest of the visualizations on the same tab. Even though the this thing here, this model, even though it does not explicitly, it may or may not explicitly use the state, still, the data that is used to build the model is filtered by state that I selected here, okay? Or I can select this state here, and this will be adjusted accordingly, okay? Okay, so just keep that in mind. Select one, and it gets adjusted. Now, see this? I click in here. This shows me that all visualizations belong to a single group. I have an option to ungroup. So when I click on this visualization here, well, I can create new connection and make it separate by itself, right? So now, well, when I unclick this, right, this is by itself. So whenever I select one state here, the rest of the visualizations will no longer be, so I'll have to unfilter, right? Okay, when I select one state here, the rest of the visualizations are no longer impacted, okay? It will only filter this visualization. On the other hand, if I go back and let's unfilter it, right? To unfilter it, just click on this here and click on X. I unfilter it. Now I'm gonna go here, go down. This is still filtered. I'm going here, I filter it, right? It filtered this three, but not this, because I split it apart in a separate group, right? So now what I could do this. I could go in here, and for this visualization, I have an option. I can add it to the second group, perhaps, right? I can add it to the second group. So right now, any filters that I apply in here will apply to this visualization, okay? So what I could also do is this. I click here and I can break all links, right? Or I can link this. I can link this again, right? I want to link everything back as it was. Now I click here and I want to link this too, right? There we go. So I undid what I just did, okay? Now what I can do is I'll save this. I unselect this, okay? So here are 4 visualizations on one tab, and I also have the second tab, right? This one is broken down by state, right? This one is not broken down by state. Even though state is not used as a visualization, I may still filter this by state, okay? Now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go back to my first tab, and I'm going to unfilter everything. Okay, so I've got all my states in here. I'm going to do something different now. I'm going to go back to my fields. See, I click on this folder, and that reopens the fields, the fields in my data. What I'll do right now is I can do state. I'll drag and drop state, and this time I'm going to put it to all tabs. And I'm going to change this to Kansas, and I'm going to click OK. So right now, all my data is updated automatically to show only Kansas. And when I go to the second tab, this change is applicable to this tab also. The reason is I put this into the all tabs filter, right? I applied it here, it's a global. Now what I'm gonna do is this, I'm gonna delete it. Since this was in the all tabs, right, the deletion, when I deleted the filter, it was also deleted from the first tab. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm only going to filter this tab by the state. And this time let's do Oklahoma, and I'm gonna click on OK. Well, take a look at this. I filtered by Oklahoma, but now Why is this not filtered by as Oklahoma? Well, guess because I only put my filter on the first tab, right? Okay, now I'm going to delete filter and I'm going to click save. What I'm going to do right now is to set the stage for the next part of the presentation. I'm going to rename this tab and I'm going to do it intentionally. I'm going to name it as scene 1. So basically what you do is when you work on your assignment 4, there are going to be several parts to it. First, you're going to create the dashboard, and I want you to think carefully, like how many tabs you're going to have and what you're going to have on each tab, okay? Because you're going to use this dashboard to build your story, okay? You're going to export the dashboard as a story, but any change that you make to the dashboard after you export it as a story will not be applicable. It will not be applied to the story. So you want to think carefully, plan ahead here at this step, right? So let me go back into the slides. Well, I'm kind of like, sometimes I don't exactly follow the slides, but I want to make sure that I cover key concepts, right? So we covered that on left panel, you see the variables, right? And you also, what else you also see, this is a filter that we defined. So if I wanted to, I could also use it as part of my visualizations. I may or may not be able to use it in here, but I am able to use it in the visualizations, okay? What else is here? This area can be opened and collapsed, right? Well, that's something to keep in mind for your screenshots that you're going to take for your assignment. If you want a better screenshot, you may need to play around with the zoom, with closing different panels, etc. Right? This here, we did not have visualization, we did not have a navigation path, but when I copied visualization from the exploration, and the visualization was built on a navigation path, right? This navigation path got automatically copied to this display. It does not necessarily mean that it will be available in all other displays where you use the same data. It won't be. But if you want it to be available everywhere automatically, you would have to add this navigation path to the data module, okay? Now, so this is important. You want to think about it. What you're gonna put and where, okay? So, here I just showed you the properties of the tabs. Well, in here I use the red color, but it does not matter. Okay. You might also choose the default language. Well, for me it's English, right? The tab selection indicator shows which tab you currently selected. Well, you have multiple ways to add visualizations, and I showed you could use Assistant. You can add brand new visualization. You can drag and drop the field, etc. Right? And another thing that I did not show you, and I just saw this little icon here, so that remind me to show you the text. I'm gonna go in here, widgets, right? So I can gonna click here, and in here I can add my text in here. Look, to do that, I put this mouse on top of this arrow, and I'm gonna enter. I'm gonna type something like I love data 610. 610, okay? I just put this. So see this, you can basically add notes to your dashboard like this. And also the properties, well, see this? When I select this text, I have this toolbar, so I can edit my text in here. Ultimately, I can click on here on the properties and get more properties here, okay? And I've got the text color, I have the font size, etc. Right? And I have this alignment and more. Now what I could do is I could also add shapes. You could add images, but for the image, you cannot copy and paste the image itself. You would have to add the image URL, okay? So here we go. And notice that the shape automatically resized in here. It automatically resized to the slot, okay? Now I'm gonna save this. And I believe in one of the slides, I spelled out the properties of the text. Right, so in here, from the visualization library, I did the heat map, but okay, well, but in general, the properties you can choose, it depends on visualization type. The slot that you specify also depend on visualization type. There are many visualization types. If I did every single one of them, we would be here until morning. Okay, so maybe until Wednesday morning even. All right, so here are the available properties. I showed you this, right? Of course, different visualizations will have different appearance options. Now, here, this is a text that I just showed you, right? Well, I used different color, but, well, okay. Now here, this is showing you that visualizations are linked, okay? The visualizations that you put on the same tab, and if those visualizations are built from the same data source, they are linked. So if you select something in one, it automatically selects something in the same thing in other. Even if the field is not, even if state is not used as part of the visualization, the visualized data will still be filtered for the selected state, okay? Now, we're gonna get to stories. First of all, see this is, I have several pages right here, but there is a way to kind of like have animations or transitions between these two. Like if I want to specify when each certain part of this is visible, when it's not, right? Like for instance, if I want to look at this just for a few seconds and I want this to appear, this and this, right? If I want it to appear at a certain point of time, then if I want I want to have a transition between the slides, right, or scenes. Can I do it in here? Of course not, right? So that's going to lead us to our next topic for today, and this is a story. Telling a story, right, about the data. So one way, and this is what you're going to do for your assignment 4. You're going to save this. Watch this. Here, there is an option, save as story. By default, it's going to name it with the same name as a dashboard with a word story prefixed or suffixed. We'll see. There are several options, template options, slideshow and the guided journey. And the main difference is whether it's going to use the same or different canvas. And I'll explain more details. But for right now, let's just pick the slideshow. Okay. I'm going to pick the slideshow template. Okay. Now I'm going to select my contents. See this? It's going to do the same name, but it's gonna prefix this with a story. And here I want to open the story after I save it. Important, any change that you made to the dashboard after you create the story from it won't be available in the story. So that's the reason I want you to be done with the dashboard before you save it as a story. Now I'm gonna click on the save. Okay, so this opened up the story, claim and weather story. What do you see here is this. Do you remember I intentionally named the tab scene 1, scene 2? So here you want to plan because every tab in your dashboard will become a scene in here, right? So this is a scene now. Similar to the dashboard, I can see what data I'm visualizing, right? If I click in here, it will show me the data that is being visualized. So here, this is a data module. And in here, I believe this is the data that is used to build the data module. That's oh, wait, this is a data module, right? Okay, there we go. And the data that I use to build the data module. See this? I see it twice for a known reason. Okay, now let's do this. So here, well, notice, let's close this. Let's look at this. Here I've got two scenes, right? This first scene, I have 4 visualizations on it. What I can do here is that I can control when each visualization becomes visible. At the moment, if I just play it, see this, I don't see anything. I didn't define it. That's the reason. So what I'm gonna do now is this. I'm gonna click on this, and this opens up the timeline. Every object in here has this little bar in here. The beginning, this edge of the bar tells me when the object becomes visible, and the right-hand side edge tells me when the visibility ends. By default, each scene is visible for 5 seconds, but we can change. So now suppose that I want to see the state, but I don't want to see the spiral chart immediately. So I take this, look, I take this and I can drag and drop. Well, when the timer reaches 2 seconds, this will show, okay? See this? What I'm adjusting right now, it is being selected up here. Now I go to here, I click on it, and it will show me which object I'm looking at. Here, I'm gonna specify this here, and I want to do this one. I want to show this from the beginning, but I don't want to show it all the way through the end. And then also for this one, if I extend it, here I'm changing the duration of the scene. I'm changing the default duration. I'm gonna save it now, and then, well, let me play this scene. But to do this, well, first of all, this is the filter areas. If I'm not using the filter, I can minimize that, and I can minimize that because I want to focus. I want you to see this here. Okay, look at this. Automatically, when I see this, I'm in the beginning of the scene. I configured only this visualization to be visible, right? Or rather, it's the end. So let me go back to the beginning. This is the beginning. Okay, in the beginning, I wanted this to be visible, right? These two guys. So what I'm gonna do now? Well, you see all 4 slots, right? I'm gonna hit play right now. See this 4 slots. I'm gonna hit play. Watch the timing. Watch, see this, and now one disappeared. See this? So why is this state at the end? Because I extended the time, right? I extended the time. So I click again, watch what's happening. I changed when things appear, right? I can also change transitions between the scenes, huh? Now, I click, what I need to do now, I need to go back, I need to reopen my scenes. So, come on, oops, next scene. What, now I have to figure out how to, I close it, oh, here, look. To reopen the scene properties, you need to click on in here. You need to click on this little book here, this icon. This is my second scene. I can add new scene if I want to. Okay, here I added this scene, and then I can add my visualizations. I can add the title, and I do it the same way that I did in. I do it the same way that I did it in my when I built the dashboard, right? I could use Assistant to add my visualizations. I could use the pinned visualization from over here, right? I could also copy and paste visualizations from my dashboard, another dashboard, or from the exploration workbooks that I created earlier, right? We can do that. But for the purpose of this, let's just go ahead and I'm going to drag and drop this, right? This is the decision tree. I can drag and drop this into here, total claim amount, and it will display here. Well, what I would have to do is, if I'm doing it for the homework assignment, I would need to play around with the layout. I need to play around with the layout, but I'll let you do this. All right. So here it is. What I'm trying to say, what I'm doing here is very similar to what we were doing with the dashboard. You can add new visualizations just by drag and drop, or you can add text, right? I can type in here, I love data 610, okay? I can type it in here, and similarly, I can change my text properties. Like for example, I want to increase the font size, and if I want to, I can change the color, etc. There are multiple ways. I can do it in this toolbar, or I can click here. Here are my properties, okay? All right, and also if you notice that when you add the new scene, you've got this option, you have a template option also. These are different templates that you may choose from. All right, you may also change order of scenes if you want to. So this order is not locked in, is not set in stone. You can do this, okay? Now you can also rename the scene if you'd like. Right? If I click on pencil, it allows me to rename, right? And I did not have scene 3, so I can name the scene 3, for instance. Right? Okay. Well, now I'm gonna click on the save button. What else I have is, let's look at the properties. So this is my scene. Here, I'm gonna go to the properties, and I believe this in here, I can change this as a scene transition. At the moment, I have it set to none, but let me set it to sweep. And this is the type. The type is a slideshow, right? Okay, so let's close this out, and I'm gonna switch to edit mode. There is a view mode and an edit mode. Edit mode, it means that now it's editable. When I click on the view mode, in here, when I click on the pencil, I'm transitioning to the view mode. When I'm in the view mode, I preview, and I cannot make changes. So watch what's gonna happen now. I'm going to play my scenes. I'm playing this. Okay, so this is the first one. Now it's gonna go to the second one. See this? Oh, I did not see the transition. It's because I have to change. There is another property that I had to change is this. I need to check this play all scenes. Do you see that? I forgot to check this. This is a property. So when you try to preview your story, if it does not automatically go to the next scene, you have to change this. Okay. Now let's go back. Let's play this. Now it's gonna go. See, it finished the first one. See, this is a transition. This is a transition type that I just showed you. When it's finished with the scene, this is an approach I'm using to go to the next scene. I did not have this type of effect when I did my dashboard, right? But I have this type of effect here. I may specify the timing when things appear, disappear. I may change the transition. I may add text in here, right? I have more flexibility of what I can and what I cannot. So over here, what I did was I spelled it out for you how to create. And I'm gonna show you also how to create it from scratch in a few. But what I wanted to explain is this. Right now, I created the slideshow. The slideshow means each scene is gonna use the different canvas, right? On the other hand, when I do the guided journey, all my scenes are going to use the same canvas. This is the main difference. And the similarities that you may specify when things appear, disappear, you may apply filters, you may add animations, etc. But yes, filters. So basically, let me go back. When I click on the pencil, I'm in edit mode. This is similar to what I did when we did the dashboard. I can add filter in here that would apply to all scenes in a story, right? For example, if I filter it by state, it will apply everywhere across the board. Or I can also apply the filter only to this scene. Similar to what we saw in the dashboard, all visualizations in the same tab are linked. See this? If I click here, see this? All of these visualizations belong to the same group. This is a similarity between the dashboard. These are linked. What it means is this. If I select one state in here, the data on the same tab should be filtered for the same state in other visualizations, because I'm using the same data source, right? So visualizations on the same scene are linked. You may add scene, you may control when things are appear, disappear. You may add the animation effect in here, etc., right? And you also have multiple ways to add visualizations. You've got your friend assistant here. You may copy and paste from exploration workbook. You may copy and paste from the dashboard, right? But a few things to keep in mind is that sometimes when you do copy and paste, you may end up losing some properties. It depends on from you copying it to where, okay? Now, we've got this. If I was going to create a brand new dashboard, this is what I can do. This is my welcome page. I could just click on new, and I can create a new story. Sorry, I meant story. I did not mean dashboard. And for this time, let me do this guided journey, right? I can do that. Guided journey, I can do create. Well, right now, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to specify the source because I cannot do the visualization if I never specified what data I'm using. And to specify the source, I'm gonna have to go to my content, and I'm gonna select the data module, right? And I'm gonna click add. See, this is a data module. Notice that I don't have navigation path because I did not define it at the data module level. It's not available in here for me, right? Because I never defined it in the data module. So too bad, right? Well, I can start creating my visual. I can start adding things here from scratch, right? Here, I can add this. Here. Oh, I need to make sure that I have the slide selected. See this? I need to make sure that I have the slide selected. So let's delete this. And what it's saying is that, okay, I should be able to add this. Let's try it again. Let's try this one. Let's see. It should do it. There we go. Oh, it's because I see why. It's because I use different data set to create that specific visualization. That's why. Okay. Basically, if you drag and drop visualizations, it should appear here. Okay. Well, this is what you're going to do in your last assignment. Well, assignment 5 is going to be the team assignment, and you're going to be playing around. You're going to be creating a brand new story from scratch. Basically, you're doing nothing but adding visualizations here. You may copy and paste your visualizations from the dashboard. You may add them from the pins, or you may create brand new visualizations. Like if I'm going to go here, I select this scene, and I can drag and drop my field, like for instance, state. I can drag and drop here, and it would put visualization for me, right? And then I can go back here, go to the focus mode, and I can specify exactly what I want to do, right? Total claim amount, color, right? Something like that. I can do this. Right? This is basically building it from scratch, right? It's similar to what I was doing there, but an assignment 4, you're gonna save it. You're gonna save your dashboard as a story, and then you're gonna add the transitions between the scenes, and you're gonna explain it in your paper. You ask to discuss the special features of the dashboard, and of the dashboard, and then of the story. In a story, you can add transitions. You can show when things appear, disappear. So that's basically the narrative part, right? But for the dashboard, you cannot do it. Then one plus side of both is that the visualizations on the same tab are linked. So if I wanted to, I can drill down to the specific state, and all my visualizations will be adjusted accordingly, right? So I could also use it, so to speak, as a dynamic filter, because when I'm in a view mode, I can, as a user, I can just select field, select state, and everything else will be automatically filtered by state. Okay. So now, suppose that you selected the guided journey, right? But you want to change the type. Well, not a big problem. You can always do this. Go back in the edit mode, and you can always change the transition type. Okay. you would have to go here. This is property, and you can change the layout, right? Well, you can always change the layout, and you can always change the story type. But let me go back to the story that I created earlier for you. Oops, it's a story. Okay, this is a story that I created earlier for you, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna change. Well, again, the available properties depends on what I have currently selected. Let's unselect it, and I want to select the story. I don't want to select the visualization, right? So let me go do this. Oh, for some unknown reason, oh, here we go. I'm gonna click on one of the scenes. I'm gonna click here. Okay, let's see. Here, this is, I'm doing a slideshow. Well, let me change it to guided journey, and I'm gonna do this for right now. And I'm gonna show you what it means by same canvas. Okay, I've got this here, right? What I'm gonna do right now, I'm leaving the edit mode and I'm gonna go to the play mode. It's gonna start from here, from this scene. Watch what's gonna happen. I'm playing the first scene, right? Now this will slide and play this, and then it will play that. Well, the reason I see scene 3 before scene 2 is because how I name them. I can reposition them. I would need to go back to the edit mode and reposition. So notice that what's happening is that when I see, when the second scene becomes visible, the first one is not removed from the view. Instead of it slides, right? That's what I meant by different canvas, okay? So we did that. Let me go back. And we also have a fun part. This is the interface, right? Most of the stuff that you can do here is the same as what you can do in a display, in a dashboard. Things like filtering, adding text, etc. Right? Here I showed you how to export dashboard as a story. Right? I showed you what happens to the tabs. Right? So you have to plan accordingly, plan carefully. What you also have in here is you have access to the samples. Okay, let me do this. Let's save this. And I'm gonna go back to my welcome page. Well, see this? Well, this time you're gonna be using this area, and I'll show you what that means. At a moment, you don't see this at a moment, but you will later. Here, there is a folder called samples. It was pre-installed, and you have a run privilege on this folder. Run privilege means that you can preview, you can open up any data that is in there, you can copy the data to your personal area, and you may run any dashboards that are in here as sample, right? So you have run privilege for this folder. You cannot write anything to it, but you can do this. You can go to sample and you can go to the dashboards. Well, here as a sample dashboard, sometimes you need an idea on what you can do for your data, right? So here, for example, this is a country campaign. You can open this. You're not gonna submit this for your grade, but you're gonna see what can be done. And again, see this is a lot of visualization. It's gonna take a touch longer to load, depending on your internet connection. But as you can see, I'm on Ethernet. All right, so that helps me a lot. I'm on Ethernet. Wired connection is, sometimes it works better than wireless, right? So, well, you just keep that in mind. If it's slow for you, you may want to try the wired. Well, that's a secret, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close this out, okay? Okay, here are the samples. And also, you see the sample stories too, right? It's on here. And the data that it's using, it's also here. So you've got that. Yes, but I think this is also important. In order to be able to open the story, you need to have access to the data that was used to build the story. There is a dependencies between files. So if I delete the data modular, all of the dashboards and stories that I created from the data module will be invalid. So this is very important. You need to pay close attention when you delete something, because when you delete the file, anything that you created from that file, it will become damaged and it cannot be repaired, because every data file has a secret number behind the scene associated with it, right? And the exploration workbook, the dashboard, it has an association with the data set based on that unique identifier, not the data set name, but unique identifier. So once you break this association, there is no way to fix it. You would have to redo your work. Trust me, that happened. That happened on a day when assignment is due. So you don't want to be in that situation, okay? So here it is. This is samples. And what you could do, you could also save a copy to your folder to play around with this, because anything in that samples folder in a team content, it's not editable. You have a run privilege on this. Okay, now this is fun, but not at the expense of working hard. Your last assignment is an opportunity for teamwork, right? Because a lot of projects these days, they require working in teams, and also in the real world environment, you might end up being on more than one team. But at the end of week 9, you want to stay tuned for announcement, because what will happen is that your instructor or your TA will send me the team membership, right? There are going to be several teams. You're going to be working in a group of 2 to 5 students, and your instructor is going to tell me on which team you were assigned to. And I'm going to go back to my admin account, and I'm going to set up the privileges accordingly. Each team is going to have a designated folder where you're going to save the work and share as a team. For that specific folder, you're going to have a write privilege, which means that you will be able to modify your work, your classmate works. You'll be able to run the dashboards and the explorations created by your classmates, right? And you'll be able to read it, right? So it's all. And also traverse. What that means is that if your teammates create a subfolder inside your folder, which is possible, your permission allows you to see the content of that subfolder. Okay, so there are different permissions level. You don't worry about this, but the reason I'm speaking about it is that because so that you're aware that the couple places where you're allowed to save your work is only my content and the designated team folder. And I know that you're not going to be using you're not assigned to a team for 2 more weeks. So what I did was here, I spelled it out, what you're going to do. So let's just make an assumption in here. I'm going to be a student, and I'm going to be taking the data 610 this semester. I'm in session 9080. So this is what I'm going to do. When the time comes, I'm going to see this assignment 5 group work folder in the team content. I'm going to click in here. In here, I'm going to see spring 2020. So this is the current semester. This folder is for my team. I'm not going to see the folders for the rest of the teams in the class. I'm not going to see folders for teams in the other sessions. I'm only have to see my folder team. If you see something else, let me know. Unless you were enrolled in a class in the fall, and if you did the group project, you're probably still going to see your last semester work. I didn't delete it. It's still there. Okay? So here it is. Well, somewhere I created the configuration for this group, and here this group has permission, write permission for this folder. So now I'm a team member, right? Whenever you are told, whenever your TA notifies that the groups have been set up, what you will do at the earliest convenience, log in to your account and make sure that you can do what I just did, right? You can access, you can go to this assignment 5 group work. You can go to that spring thing here, and this is the folder. This is a session name. If you're not sure what your session name is, it's in Leo. Like, let me give you an example. I'm a TA of data 650, right? So I'm a TA of data 650. This is session 9040. This is how you know the session you have, right? You go to Leo, and it's going to be at the top. It's going to say data 610, and then at the top, you're going to see either 98 or 9081, right? So that number in here should match this number in here. Okay, that number should match this. And the team name here should match the group that you assigned in Leo, okay? The group number in Leo. So you want to make sure this is the first thing that you do. Second, with your team, you may need to set up some kind of like a meeting or a discussion, something. What you need to do is this. You're gonna look at this data. See here, this is the data options for assignment 5. You need to pick one of them. But sometimes it's a difficult decision, but well, the data sets were picked based on common knowledge topics. Like for example, cars. You may choose to predict perhaps car efficiency, right? Something like that. So in every team, you want to designate the team leader. A team leader is going to do this. It's going to, he or she is going to click here, and it's going to do click on copy and move. Then you're going to go to here. Oops, you're going to go to here rather, teams, right? I'm going to go in the team content. Then I'm going to go to assignment 5. Right, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open this folder, and I'm going to do the copy to, not move to, but copy to. Okay. Well, it should not allow me to. To move because I don't have a right permission for that folder. For the folder where the shared data is, I don't have a right permission, so I won't be able to. But let me do copy to. Okay. Well, this is what you're gonna do. Then you're gonna go back to, see this? I'm gonna go back to this here, and I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna go back to here. This is assignment 5. This is my team. And over here, I see this data, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create the data module, and then I'm gonna save the data module. This is the team leader work. After that, as a team, you're going to start applying your filters here, etc. This is very important. You want to use the same data module as a data source when you work on your assignment. It's because if you use the copy of the data that is in your content, and then you move the data module, and you move the visualization to the team folder, your team members will not be able to view visualizations. Well, the reason is they cannot see the data in your personal area that is associated with this visualization, right? So I just want you to keep that in mind, okay? Let's close this. I'm not gonna save it. Close without saving. But, well, basically, if you do this, see this? This is the data module. I can look at this. Oops, I want to open this menu, and I want to see the properties. Oops. See this is the properties, and in here somewhere I'm going to see this number. Do you see this? This is the ID. So every visualization today, every visualization that I created, all dashboards and all explorations, they are associated with this number. Even if my teammate creates another data module with the same name, it's not going to be the same file that I have here. All right. You on your team content, in my content, I cannot have two files with the same name. However, my teammate may have a file with the same name that I have, but still, it's not going to be the same file. So I cannot have my teammate working from the local copy, from the copy of the data in my content, right? Then upload the visualizations to the team folder. Only the person who uploaded will have access, because the data that was used to build the visualization is not in the team folder. So this is what I want you to happen, starting from day number 1. Once you selected the data set, the team leader, only the team leader goes and copies it to the team folder, and you work from that data. this is the efficient way to do it because you don't want things disappearing, and always back up the work. Warning, always back up the work, think twice before deletion. If you want to, you can create a folder that you call trash, perhaps, right? And dump everything temporarily in there, just in case you say, okay, oh no, I don't need to delete this, I need this. Things like that, okay? So what I did here, I spelled that out. Well, I know the slide that says 9040, but this is just an example, okay? This is an example on how to access your team folder, all right? And here, these are the steps to copy. So you will have to, you may have, no, actually you will have to watch this presentation again, because in 2 weeks, you're gonna forget, right? We have a lot to worry about right now. So you're gonna have this recording and you will have to watch this again and again. This is gonna be you. Trust me, if you delete something, it's gonna be a problem. Trust me, it happened on the day when assignment was due. So you don't want to be that person, please, please, please. Now, here, this is an odd error, but sometimes if your classmate deleted the file from the shared folder that you recently have access, but somehow the file is still sitting in your recent files. When you attempt to open a file from the recent that no longer exists, you're gonna get this error. Well, I still reproduce it sometimes. I play around with sharing things. Like for example, I had something in last time as I was working, was doing the demo for session 9040, I put something in a shared folder for team 1. Then I deleted it, right? Because I had to clear out the folder since they're now starting the group project, but the shortcut was still sitting in my recents. When I tried to open the file from recents, I got that error today. So if you attempt to open something that you deleted, but sometimes when you delete something, it may not disappear from recents, that's a problem. Sometimes it happens. So whenever you see this error, just bear in mind, you're trying to open something that either you deleted or maybe your teammate deleted from the shared folder, okay, from a team folder. This is a bonus. Well, I put together how to do the advanced calculation. Like for example, earlier we looked at the data groups, but here I want to write a code to create the data group. And I'm looking at the income category, and this is a case statement. So I want to set the value as a poverty, right? Then I define the low class, middle class, and etc. Right? I can write the case statements, but I don't want to scare you with here. If you look behind the scene, so let me go back. This is let me go back to this. I'm gonna go to welcome page, right? So this is a claim and weather data module. If I open it here, and now if I go here, if I do this, I click here, and oops, I click here, and I want to see the properties, and now I can see this view or edit expression. This is a code that gets generated by Cognos Analytics for me to create the data group. This is really complex, but well, here, this is a complex code that gets generated by Cognos Analytics to build this, okay? Just keep this in mind that it's writing code behind the scene. So sometimes if you're advanced, you can go in and customize it, okay? All right, so let me go back to the slides. Here I put some links, some case studies, etc., right? And those are the references, useful resources. Well, I have to list the reference because this is part of it is what I use to learn the concepts, but actually to learn the concepts myself, sometimes I go in and I try to explore almost every single option. I try to break things. Oh, what happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? So for you, you would need to probably watch this video more than once, and maybe I can give you a copy of the data so you could something like follow along, things like that. You have to watch and watch and watch and watch multiple times. You may need to watch section of this recording as well, you know. but it's a lot of concepts, but the only way to master it is to do it. It's like one way to learn how to drive, right? You can study the driving rules, the theory test, but it does not make you comfortable on the road, right? You need to do the practice test, and you need to practice. The time when you learn how to drive is the time when you actually sit down. So here your driving is using your Cognos application, using it actually. And the driving rules is what I just showed you. The presentation is your rules book. The actual car that you drive is going to be the Cognos Analytics application when you sit down and when you do hands-on practice. Try like as much as the time as you can squeeze in over the next week to get comfortable with this, and then you're going to like it. Trust me, you're going to get carried away with it. Okay? So let me go back to slides. We're done with slides. I want to see if there are any questions. I only see 3 participants. Okay. So Tony, it's your opportunity to type in the question into the chat. Please go ahead and type if you have any questions. See, attending this session is a nice opportunity to ask questions right away, right? Because sometimes we fear that we may forget them or something like that. But you can always email the questions at
She
any
has
time.
a question in the chat. Can you see it, Yelena?
Oh,
It says,
let me take a look. Let me take a look because,
okay.
okay, chat. Okay. Are stories available outside of Cognos to individuals that do not have access to Cognos? Well, maybe or maybe not. Because, well, basically, let me explain to you this. There is a trial version that we're not using here, but people who do not have access to this application, they may open up the trial version. I don't remember, it used to be 90 days, now it's 30 days. Then also, there are some videos that you can watch. There are some videos on YouTube on that you can watch. But yeah, to access, you would need to go to Cognos. They're not exported the way we had. Yeah, long time ago when we used Watson Analytics, yes, some stories were exported to the, what do you call it? Analytics Exchange form, I think. Yes. But now you have to go to the in Cognos, unfortunately. But I like the question, Tony. This is excellent question. No, seriously. But what I do know, sometimes you might connect Cognos with other applications. It's not set up in here, but in theory, you could. Yeah. And what else we don't have set up is that in general, you might also, we could, if we wanted to, we could add perhaps Python notebook capabilities and do the coding, but we're not doing it for this course, and yeah, we're not gonna do that. All right. So almost no coding, yeah. Okay, well, yeah, of course, it's good to know. Yeah, so for people who are not taking this class and they want to get a taste of Cognos, they can get a trial version. Okay, but the thing with the trial version is that it keeps on getting updates, right? But here we don't update during the semester. Usually, sometimes when they do update, the system could be down for like a week. No, here, no. Once it's set up for the semester, it's frozen. We don't make an update unless something happens that requires some fixes, unless that happens. All right. So, but yes, I would like to see more questions because, it's an excellent opportunity. No more things in the chat. I guess Steve, add anything.
Oh, okay, let me go ahead and stop the recording then.
Anything you want to add before we do that?
No, I think again, very thorough. And as you said, people are going to need to watch it several times to absorb all that information, but it should get them through very fine. Thanks again.
Sure.